5 weeks of spring training. It gets a little boring even for the players, but now the games are real. 1 of 162 today, and it starts against the Toronto Blue Jays. We actually got a local on the other side here, in Bo Bichette, who played at Lakewood High School not so far away. Let's get some bookkeeping out of the way before we get into all the preparations for opening day and what to expect from this Tampa Bay Rays team. First, Wander Franco officially put on administrative leave today again, and that is through June 1st. So there is a deadline date where they will revisit this. Of course, the Rays, Major League Baseball, still awaiting word from the Dominican Republic about the charges, the alleged charges against Wander Franco in his relationships with minors. So that's still an ongoing case, but mostly what you have to know is at the end of the season, he was put on administrative leave. Then he was put back on the roster just because everything resets. New season entering 2024, so they're just putting him back on administrative leave. So it's really just more of a logistical thing, nothing that has changed in where the team has been with Wander, nor what Major League Baseball is saying in regards to the situation. Kevin Cash, we spoke to him yesterday, still has no comment on the matter. Also, the team has set its 26-man roster. That's great. We have a bunch of new faces to understand and to learn in this process. Only 4 Rays from the 2020 World Series team are on the opening day roster this year. That's Yandy Diaz, Randy Arozarena, then you got Pete Fairbanks, and also, I'm forgetting one. I'll get back to it, but it's 4. Randy Arozarena, Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lau, and Pete Fairbanks. There we go, I got through it. So 4 from the 2020 World Series team on the opening day roster today. In fact, only 11 guys from the opening day roster last year are on the 26-man roster this year. So that just kind of shows you all the turnover that's been happening with this team. A lot of new people to understand. We can go from the starting pitching of Ryan Pepio, who will pitch against the Rangers when they come to town on Monday. He was a part of that Tyler Glasnow deal. Josh Lowe is injured. We got Taylor Walls injured. Taj Bradley's injured. There's a lot of people. Jonathan Aranda is injured. Most of it happened during spring training. Taylor Walls had hip surgery in the offseason. But Kevin Cash, for a guy who entering the season felt like he was going to have to make some tough decisions on who to bring into the year, the decisions were kind of made for him. In fact, we even got Austin Shenton making the opening day roster, his first ever on opening day and his first ever game if he can get into the contest today, as they need a lefty. They need a lefty bat. So they also traded for Ben Wortfeldt from the Yankees. They shipped away a minor league prospect for him. So they got the backup catcher position figured out. Richie Palacios came over in a trade for Andrew Kittredge in offseason. He'll play in the outfield today. Rene Pinto, who we've seen in the past, he will be your starting catcher throughout the year. So, and not to mention when you get to the bullpen, Phil Maton, who they acquired via free agency from the Houston Astros. Many more names on that you're going to have to learn. The key is getting through April, because once this team turns into May, you're going to start seeing all these guys come back. You know, maybe Jeffrey Springs will return around the All-Star break, a stellar starting pitcher for this team. Drew Rasmussen also, maybe he's coming back in August, September as he rehabs. We know Shane McClanahan will not be back. Zach Eflin is going to take the mound today for opening day. It will be his first ever opening day start. We're excited to see what he can do as he rooted for the Rays growing up. And I don't know if you can see it, but the lines on the field, totally different this year. The new turf is supposed to replicate grass. That's why you see something that looks like mowed lawn, something you see from an outdoor field, but also the coconut husk fillings here on the field itself. So in the past, right, a ball would land in the outfield. We'd see that ball pop up and players would overrun it, and inside the park homers would happen, triples would happen. That shouldn't happen as much anymore. This ground it's kind of thick for being turf, and it's going to replicate a little bit more of what the players get when they play on natural grass. The bounces will be more true, they'll be slower. So that's just going to be an adjustment for all players coming into Tropicana Field, but especially for these guys who play here 81 times a year. They got to get used to the new surroundings, and I was walking around yesterday. It's still a little uneven. It's got to get some work in there. So we're interested to see how that's going to play out. But the Rays are not getting eased into the season at all, right? They're starting a 4-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays. The Rays, who had 99 wins last year and could not win a division, are playing the Blue Jays, who had 89 wins last year. They also were a wild card team along with Tampa Bay, and both teams did not win a game in the wild card. So both, that's a running theme for both franchises, by the way, as they've gone back-to-back years losing in the playoffs, getting wiped out 2-0. So they have to really establish themselves early. I don't know if they got another 13-game winning streak in them like they did last year, a historic run. But jumping out against an AL East foe and making sure that you don't get swept, you're looking to kind of tread water, at least get 2 or 4, and then you play the Texas Rangers, the defending World Series champions, coming to town. So your first 7 games, Blue Jays, Rangers. After that point, they'll go on the road. The next 22 games are against teams that did not make the playoffs 1 year ago. It's part of a West Coast road trip as well. So we'll learn a lot about this group in the first 29 games or so. A, how they can manage the stiff competition out of the gates, and B, how they can manage being road warriors and playing teams who not necessarily were expecting to be there in October baseball. Kevin Cash will be the manager again for his 10th season, a Tampa native and an institution here with the Rays, going to be the winningest manager in Rays history once he gets another 16 wins under his belt, surpassing Joe Maddon. But he got a contract extension in the offseason along with Eric Neander, 2 guys who have been there for the start of one of the greatest eras in Tampa Bay Rays history. They've made it to 5 straight playoffs, looking to go back for a 6th. And when you think about the last 3 years, where you won 100 games 3 years ago, last year you won 99, you go to the World Series in 2020, that's a pretty great run. And I know the playoffs have not worked out for this franchise, but let's not get bored with success. Ultimately, they have to book a ticket to the playoffs, then we see what happens. Eventually, all that experience, you would think, has to pay off, but they just have not found a way to make it work in the playoffs. And but nonetheless, Kevin Cash enjoying his 10th opening day as Rays manager and will surpass Joe Maddon as the longest tenured manager in Rays history. Again, first pitch will be at 4:10 from Tropicana Field. It will be the 18th consecutive sellout here inside Tropicana Field. And, we say that a little bit in italics because the top deck does not sell anymore. They don't post those tickets. So it's a sellout because all the tickets that are posted have been sold, but the upper deck will not be filled. So it will be the standard 20,000 or so coming in today, cheering on the Rays as we get all the festivities. We are going to have player introductions around 3:43. We will then have the starting lineups announced. We'll have, first pitch, the national anthem, and then Zach Eflin will take the bump at 4:10, where he was stellar inside this building last year. Put forth close to a Cy Young caliber campaign, getting 16 wins, stellar in his first year with the Rays, and he's going to have to be the horse this year, as this team has a lot of, I don't want to say question marks, just a lot of unproven certainty of what they're going to be able to do, because we are confident in guys like Zach Littell, we are confident in guys like Aaron Savali, Ryan Pepio, Tyler Alexander, who was claimed in the offseason from the Tigers. We know the Tampa Bay Rays know how to develop pitchers. We just have to figure out what's going to happen once they get going here. So what time are we looking at right now? 3:26? Okay. So once again, the Rays on opening day, this is their 27th one. They are 14-10 all time. They've actually played the Blue Jays. This will be their 6th time on opening day, all at Tropicana Field, and they are 2-3 against Toronto on opening day all time. So I just want to stress it's going to be a marathon run for this team. We're going to see a lot of variability. My prediction for this team, 89 wins. They will be in the wild card. And the only guarantee I'll say about the wild card in the 2 games they would play at this point on March 28th is that they will score more than 1 run in those 2 games, because scoring in the playoffs has been been really hard for them. They snapped a 30-something plus scoreless streak thanks to a Curtis Mead baloney RBI single at the end of that loss to the Rangers last year. But 89 wins, another wild card spot, and we will see another wild card banner being dropped from inside the Tropicana Field walls here. What our opinions on that? It's been long stated. Should they do it? Should they not? Whatever. They do it every year, and they will honor the 2023 team. So we're going to get set up here inside Tropicana Field. Remember to stick with us on all platforms, whether that's 10tampabay.com, your favorite streaming platform, 10 Tampa Bay Plus. Also, you can follow me at eKlosky WTSP. We'll have plenty of stories coming to you at 10 Tampa Bay, on 10 Tampa Bay at 5 o'clock. We'll hear from a bunch of the fans. I'll also show you my one-on-one sit-down interview with Ryan Pepio, who I've mentioned was part of that trade with Tyler Glasnow to come to town. We're expecting great things from him as a starting pitcher. Then at 6 o'clock, you'll see David Shealy break down the highlights from this contest. And then tonight on Nightside, after the March Madness tournament, I'll give you a full recap of the events from opening day, how the game went, how the team feels, and what we're learning about this group. One game into a 162-game season. So thank you for joining us so much on this Facebook Live. And as always, raise up and get ready. Got a lot of games to get through.